Hey there. Today I want us to talk about what to do immediately you are being discharged from the hospital, like post-birth. I'm talking about the post-birth phase because I already made a video explaining the things you're supposed to do immediately you realize that you are pregnant in Germany. So on this video, I am just simply going to focus on the things that you're supposed to do immediately you have been discharged from the hospital. And like a foreign mother myself, I have put together a little checklist, a little bit detailed and structured, that will help you in order to know where to go, what to apply from the child's birth certificate, which is the Geburtsurkunde, from applying for the child's resident permit or the passport, and for applying benefits. So watch this video to the end to get to know the details if you're a new parent or if you are new to the system of childbirth in Germany, in order to get to know the detailed information. My returning subscriber, you are my MVP, and you know that you are my MVP. And if you're new here, thank you very much. I'm Amy. Here I motivate, I inspire, and I entertain, and of course I share my experience as a mother living in Germany. So please do well to subscribe for more informative based from experience, encouraging and inspiring messages. So now today I want us to talk about the things you're supposed to do after birth. I'm talking about post birth because I already made a video on the things you're supposed to do before birth as a foreigner. So I'm going to drop the link of the video on the things you're supposed to do before bed at the comment section. Please do well to watch this video, and if you have any question with regards to this video or the other videos, answer you. So today I want us to talk about the things you're supposed to do after birth in Germany. And as a foreigner, it is important to note that immediately you have your baby at the hospital, in most hospitals that also, they are actively involved in the administrative procedure of your child's document. More often than not, when you have the child, they will do what is called in German the Geburtsanzeige, meaning they will notify the Standesamt that you have a child already, and immediately you've been discharged. You will have to go to where the Standesamt, which is the registry office, in order to get your child's birth certificate. And provided while at the hospital, like in my case, while at the hospital, I had to submit almost like about 80% of the documents that were required. So immediately you leave the hospital, you can go to the Standesamt in order to do what? To get your child's birth certificate, provided all the procedures, all the documents were submitted and everything were processed. So at the Standesamt, which is the registry in English, there you will get your child's birth certificate. And more often than not, they will give you an option to also apply for an international birth certificate. So as a foreign parent, if you also want maybe to have an English version of the child's birth certificate, you have to apply for it. And I think you have to pay extra for it. But normally you're supposed to get about 6 to 4 copies of birth certificate. I think one is for you, one is for the Kindergeld, one is for working parents, one is for Elterngeld, and then maybe you people have to keep some copies for yourself. So now that is the very first step, and that is the very first thing on my checklist that you're supposed to do post-birth. You are supposed to go to where? The Standesamt, because the hospital had already begun the administrative procedure of your child's document. So now, it is from getting the child's birth certificate that you're supposed to follow the next steps that I will be mentioning in this video. So please don't forget, immediately you leave the hospital, the first place you're supposed to go to is where? The Standesamt, that is the registry's office, to get what from them? To get your child's birth certificate. And this birth certificate will only be granted if all required documents were submitted by both parents. Checklist, I have what? Registration of your child's address, meaning you're supposed to book an appointment at the Bürgeramt, armed. You book an appointment and you go there to do the child's address and medal, and this has to take place 14 days after. So now, what documents will you be needing? Just like every one of us, when you go for address and medal, you'll be needing the house contract. You'll be needing, yeah, of course, your resident permit and the child's birth certificate, so that the child should be included in the house contract, and the child should have what? An address. And from point on my checklist is what? Health insurance for your baby, meaning the child needs to be included in the what? In the health insurance, the family health insurance. You have to call your Krankenkasse, which is your health insurance company. You call them and inform them. We have a new member in the family. If you're gesetzlich versichert, like if you are in the public health insurance, you call them and tell them we have a new family member. He or she should be included in the family ward insurance, and more often than not, they will send a form. Like in my case, I had to inform my insurance. I got a form. I have to fill the form, and on this form, you're just supposed to give just the basic information like the child's name, place of birth, nationality, name, the baby's name, most importantly, the Geschlecht, and that is all. You then later on get a health insurance card for the child, right? And more often than not, if you are gesetzlich versichert, like publicly insured, the health insurance will be included with one of the parents, under one of the parents' insurance, and that is free. So it is very, very important to carry out this step. And the next step on my checklist is what? Looking for what? A pediatrician, which in German is called what? Kinderarzt. You need to look for a Kinderarzt for that child, because it is where the regular checkups will be taking place. In Germany, you and I know that they don't joke with Untersuchungen for children. Like, it is checked. It is properly checked. They control it, and failing to do it, you will have a serious problem. So you need to get what? A Kinderarzt, which is a pediatrician for your child. If you didn't get it before birth, yeah, you need to get a pediatrician, because it is there that you'll be doing your U-Untersuchungen. You and I know that they don't joke with this U-Untersuchungen from U1 to U9. So you're supposed to get a Kinderarzt. Unbedingt. You get one, and if possible, maybe if it's closer to the house. So the next point on my checklist on what you're supposed to do post-birth is what? Applying for child allowance, which is Kindergeld. And where are you supposed to apply this? You're supposed to apply this at the Familienkasse. At the Familienkasse, you'll be given a form to fill, and on this form, there will be maybe your tax identification number of both the man, the woman, provided the woman might have worked before. They will ask for your tax identification number. They will ask for the child's birth certificate. Of course, your bank Febindo. In my situation, it was a little bit different, because I got, like, where I had my baby, the hospital already had these forms. I just had to fill, and yeah, immediately I had my child. Later on, it was there. So what is Kindergeld? Kindergeld is a support that the government gives to children born in Germany, and this support, it doesn't come automatically. That is why I'm making mention of it on this video. It doesn't come automatically. You're supposed to apply. You're supposed to apply for it at the zuständige Familienkasse, depending on your Bundesland or where you live. You're supposed to apply for it, and when you apply for it, of course, it is always, yeah, more often than not, it is paid retroactively. Like, it can be paid 6 months behind, depending on when you applied for it. So you just have to be patient, and after you must have applied for Kindergeld, if you didn't have the opportunity, of course, to apply before birth, because somebody like me, I had to fill the form. Depending on the hospital where you're having your child, I had to fill the form before birth, like before birth, to submit it to the hospital. So after birth, I didn't have to do that whole lot of procedure. But in situations where you have to, of course, apply for it extra, after you must have done that, the next thing to apply for. But I learned from a friend that it is also possible to apply for Elterngeld, maybe kurz for Geburt. If it's possible, why not? You can do it. So, as for Elterngeld, it is the next point on my checklist, and of course, you're supposed to apply for your what? Your Elterngeld. What is Elterngeld? It's like a parental allowance that you get for staying off work to take care of your child. And there are two types of Elterngeld from what I know. There's the basis Elterngeld, and then there's the Elterngeld Plus. The basis Elterngeld, now, it is paid in the next 12 months that you're supposed to be at home. Meaning, if you take 1 month of parental leave, you stay at home for 1 year. I mean to say, if you take 1 year of parental leave to stay at home for, let's say, just that 1 year, within this 1 year, you'll be getting your Elterngeld, your basis Elterngeld, which is, it ranges from 300 euros to maybe 1,000 something, depending on what you actually earned before you had your child. But yeah, of course, Elterngeld is not just paid to people that were working before birth. Of course, it is also paid to people who were not working before birth. So usually they calculate it based on how much you were earning before birth. And in my situation, I had to submit my 12 months Gahad operational before I had my child. So that was what I had to submit. And of course, I had to also fill a form. I had to fill a form and so on and so forth. So that is the next point on my checklist. And it should be noted that you don't have to confuse Elterngeld to Elterntide, which is the next point on my checklist. I have what? Elterntide. Elterntide is the time you apply to your chef or to your company that you'll be having maybe up to a year or up to 3 years. In Germany, it's up to 3 years. You're allowed to have up to this number of years at home with your child. Of course, you can, before you had to do it schriftlich, but now, yeah, one is allowed to, to just apply per email formally that, okay, Frau Zozozo, I will be on parental leave from this time to this time, and then your company will give you, of course, a Bestätigung. And with the Elterngeld, it should be noted that there's a financial limit that you need to be earning for you to be eligible to have parental leave. If you earn more than, if you earn like in the whole year, if you earn up to 17,500, you are not eligible to apply for Elterngeld. So it should be noted that way. So according to my checklist, the next thing you're supposed to do is to apply for the child's resident permit stroke passport. And this will be determined based on the nationality of the child. And of course, you and I know that in Germany, the fact that the child is being born in Germany doesn't necessarily mean that that child is a German by nationality. So if you are a German citizen, of course, you're supposed to go to the Bürger Bureau to apply for the child's Deutsche Pass. And for the Deutsche Pass, it's not so complicated. You all just have to show proof of maybe nationality by naturalization, show proof of all the necessary document in order to prove eligibility. If you are eligible, of course, you as the parent, if you were eligible already before you had that child, automatically the child gets his or her own riser pass to after some time. But if you are not yet a citizen and you need to apply for the child's resident permit, I think the first thing you're supposed to do is to go to your embassy, your country's embassy, and apply first of all for the child's passport, your country's passport. For example, I'm a Cameroonian. It means I'll have to go to the Cameroon embassy to apply, provided I was to do so. So now, when you must have gotten the passport from the embassy, you now go to the Ausländerbehörde, which is the foreign office now, to apply for the child's resident permit. And the resident permit now will be determined based on the type of resident permit that you, the parent, has. So that is the next point on my checklist. And to conclude, on my checklist, of course, it is important to look for a kindergarten, like start looking for a daycare. Don't wait until the child is up to a certain stage. Start looking for a daycare as fast as possible, because you and I know that getting a daycare in Germany, you wait forever, because it is always, the waiting list is always very long. So you will have to do all of this post birth. So I wish you luck, dear mothers and fathers. If you have any other further question, please put it at the comment section. And of course, we continue our interesting topics as far as motherhood is concerned, because on this channel I'm going to share very experience-based information as a mother living in Germany. So do wait to subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.